All right. So recording now. Yes, definitely. Welcome to part 3, episode 3 of Autastic Artists. Yeah.
Yes.
um, one small change this morning. Dante Barnett is not here. I know, missing in
Where are
action.
you?
I know. That's all right. We'll catch him later on our other show, which you will see Jane, Jara, and I, Dating with Disabilities, which will also feature Benny Shakes Things Up and Beard Glasses Girl. Yay!
Yay.
So, um, lots to talk about today as well because I'm really excited about our guest, which is Paul Kilmer. And I don't really know. Paul was more of a introduction to me through Dante, so this is going to be interesting to get to know him today. So everyone, welcome our autastic artist of the day, Paul. Yay!
Yay.
All right. So, Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it that makes you autistic?
Well, when I was 9, I was diagnosed with autism.
Okay.
Um,
So at age 9, so were you in those special education programs? Did you have any sort of therapies?
well, so I'm 37 and I was born in 1983. So I was kind of raised in an environment where I kind of had to pretend that I didn't have a disability
Oh,
because um, things hadn't progressed like they are now. So I kind of, little Paul was, I had to learn how to blend in, sort of like camouflage myself.
yes, definitely understand that because I was born in, I'm going to give my age away here. I was born in 81 myself, so I definitely get it. So then you move, so you're going through life, and I know that one of the main things that makes you the autastic artist is you love magic.
Yeah, I've been a magician for about almost, it's got to be 25 years now.
Oh my
I've been
gosh.
I've been doing professional shows for about maybe 6 years, getting paid for it. And 2 years ago, I started to combine the stand-up comedy and the magic, and that's how I met Dante.
Oh, that is okay. So
How do you become a magician? That's what I want to know.
I was going to
Well,
say that's my question is how you do that.
so basically, what it is, it's kind of like any progression. Like, you have the three main staples when you grow up. There's sports, which is an art form.
hmm
You have art, which is an art form, and you have music. And in between that, you have different subgenres. How magic fell into my life is around the time I went to go live with my aunt, because it was the 90s. If you were born in the 90s, there was a pretty good chance that you were not raised by your plutonic family. I
Yeah.
was raised by my aunt. She noticed that I had a uh, skill. I was pretty I had pretty good hand-eye coordination, and my grandfather, he showed me how to do a couple of stunts, not magic tricks, but fancy things. They're called flourishes. I'll show you.
Yes.
Um,
Yay.
so
I love magic.
so basically, the first thing my grandfather showed me was a one-handed cut. That's it.
Yep.
That's when you cut the deck with one hand. And then he showed me how to shuffle with one hand. And then it turns out, and this is so crazy because I feel like my life is so random, but you know how they say that things were meant to go together.
Yes.
Well, but they don't go together. So at my local library, the children's director of that library was an amateur puppeteer and a magician, and she did shows.
Awesome.
So if you go to the Plainville Public Library in Connecticut, their magic book section is like 2 shelves long. If you go to a normal library, there might be 2 books on it. So I really feel like it was all meant to work out, because it really did take me a long time, because I'm pretty good at looking at something and then replicating it. Learning from the books was really difficult. That probably took the most time.
I think that's something to note here is that's called like pattern thinking, and some autistics learn differently, which is why we have to adjust to learning styles, and that's definitely a pattern thing when you look at it. And um like I said, just the way the magic rolls. And the other thing I wanted to note is that you have a wonderful, I have dyspraxia, so I'm clumsy, running into everything. And you just have this amazing ability to hold those and just without even thinking about it.
Well, what it comes down to is when you've been, my partner, Rebecca, she's an artist, and she's
Oh,
been an artist since she was a child. And she's an amazing artist.
yay for
And
the artists.
anybody, I can't remember what, anybody who puts 10,000 hours into a skill will ultimately master it. I can't tell you how many hours I've put into manipulating cards, which is its own subgenre in magic.
Oh, wow. See there, I learned something new today.
Yay.
The entertainment aspect of magic took me a long time to develop. The manipulative side of magic, not manipulative in as I'm manipulating you into do something, but the actual physical manipulation of cards
Oh my
is,
gosh.
is something that I just have a knack for doing, just because. I'll give you an example. If you learn, I always tell my students that if you learn the basics, it makes the more advanced stuff easier.
Yeah.
So I had to overcome difficulties interacting with people. Like, I got a job working in a restaurant, in a bar, in like a real world bar, not like a chain restaurant. I'm talking about the type of environment where if you walk up to someone, they don't know you, they don't like you, they're definitely not gonna sit there and listen to you. And yes, um, so performing in those environments where, how do you start a conversation? This person hates your face. They
Exactly.
hate themselves. How are they going to like you? So I've kind of developed this like weird kind of ability to just like create conversations out of nowhere. I guess what I'm saying is I could start a conversation with a rock or an inanimate object, and that's how I started, is just in the mirror. Hey, Paul, how you doing today? Not good, Paul.
And that's perfect, because honestly, entertainment was never, again, this was not what I started doing. I mean,
Yeah,
I was a research scientist and then worked in now I work in therapy. uh you
yeah.
know
Those
so
are some very different things.
so
Like
now I'm
salad and French fries.
yeah, I know, I went the other direction. And so what I did was the same thing. I sit in front of the mirror and I practice talking. So
Yeah,
that way I'm used to the camera. I'm used to, it's almost like social scripts in my head for that autistic
yeah.
person, because I don't know what's going to happen.
I call it hypothetical conversations.
Yes, hypotheticals.
A little tip that I give my students is because I teach a public speaking course at my local adult ed. And I always found it weird that an autistic guy would have a adult ed class at a local high school teaching. I guess it's kind of like the weird irony of life, where I don't necessarily recommend doing it in a mirror. I recommend generating conversations with friends and people, sort of like a mock government where you create a scenario. Because when you practice in a mirror, you're basically when you perform for a group of live people and then ask them for feedback, it's better because you're getting a different point of view. That's a little tip I have. Or just go out and ask somebody. It's like, hey, do you have 5 minutes to answer some questions on the survey? And then they walk away.
Oh, that's awesome. And see, but that's a good way. And
yeah.
good
Hey,
morning. Look who is
yo,
here.
Yo. I knew he'd show up.
We got it figured out. We figured it out. We're all
hey,
good.
buddy, what's going on?
We cannot hear you.
That was awkward. All right.
Yeah. All right for the awkwards. Woo! So as we're waiting for